Welcome back to our English Language and Literature channel. This is Writing Workshop Part 2. In Part 1, you wrote the first draft of your autobiographical narrative, a story about a friend who brought out the best in you. Now, in Part 2, you will revise and edit your work and share it with your classmates. Today, we'll cover revising to make it better, checking the details of your setting, a complete writer's model called the election, editing with a proofreading checklist, presenting your finished work, and even active listening in a group discussion. Let's dive in! Step 1. Revising. Make it better. The best way to start revising is to reread your draft and underline the places where you think your writing sounds awkward. Cross out sentences that are unnecessary and write notes about information you'd like to add. Next, consider the audience. In your learner's notebook, answer 3 questions. 1. What do you want your readers to know about your friend? 2. What about this friend brought out the best in you? And 3. What did you learn about yourself from this experience? Then reread your draft and make sure the answers can actually be found in your narrative. Now is the time to add the information you forgot to include in your first draft. Next, check the details. One of the most important details in a narrative is the setting, where the story takes place. Find the setting in your draft and add to the description of that place. Can't find a setting? Now is the time to add one. Look at the lesson's examples. Instead of just saying, Pablo and I ate lunch in the cafeteria, you could write, the cafeteria smelled like fish sticks, and I had trouble hearing Pablo over the noise of all the other students. Instead of, Lucy and I were at the shopping mall after school, try, Lucy and I were sitting in the food court at the mall. The neon sign for Pita Palace flashed behind Lucy's head. See the difference? And here's a great strategy called partner talk. Read your story out loud to a partner and ask, what parts of my autobiography need more details? What else would you like to know about my friend? Now let's look at the writer's model, The Election, by Oscar Mendez. Late last August, Oscar was walking home from playing soccer with his friend Pablo. Our school needs a 5th grade soccer team, he told Pablo. And Pablo replied, you should run for 5th grade class president. Then you could set one up. Who'd want me for president? Oscar asked, shocked at the idea. But Pablo insisted, you always do your best in sports and in school. You're friendly to everybody. Those are the things we need in a class president. When Oscar worried about the work, Pablo simply said, I'll help you. And he did. On election day, Oscar promised his classmates a 5th grade soccer team, and when it was announced that he was class president, the two friends gave each other high fives. Why is this model so effective? 4 reasons. First, the author uses the proper conventions for writing and punctuating dialogue, and dialogue makes the story more interesting to read. Second, the writer uses chronological order to organize events. First, we made posters to hang in the 5th grade hallway. Then, we made soccer ball-shaped buttons with my name on them. Next, Pablo helped me write a speech. Third, the author includes the emotions he remembers feeling at the time. For the rest of the day, Pablo and I nervously waited for the election results. And fourth, specific details, like those soccer ball-shaped buttons and the high fives, help the reader visualize the characters and the scene. Step 2. Editing. Finish it up. A careful editing job shows your readers that you care about your work and don't want them distracted by any errors. Follow the proofreading checklist. Check that proper nouns are capitalized correctly. Check that pronouns are in the correct form, and agree with their antecedents. Make sure all words are spelled correctly, and all sentences are complete. 3 more writing tips from the lesson. Remember that singular nouns ending in a consonant, and why get an IES ending when they become plural, like story and stories. If you write on a computer, use your spell checker, but check manually too. Spell checkers won't catch the wrong form of a word, like there, and there. And don't let messy handwriting get in the way of your story. Use your best handwriting or a word processor. Step 3. Presenting. Show it off. Write or type a final version of your autobiographical narrative. Add illustrations or fancy title lettering to make your paper really stand out. Then, make a class binder called How We Became the Best We Can Be, to compile the autobiographies of your entire class. Read your narrative to the class, and listen as everyone reads theirs. That brings us to one final skill, active listening in a group discussion. Active listening means paying attention to the person speaking, thinking about what's being said, and asking yourself whether you understand and agree. Remember, hearing is something that happens, listening is something you do. Look at the speaker, identify the main ideas, ask questions when you don't understand, and be open to different points of view, without interrupting. One more tip from the lesson. Speak to learn, by discussing the big question in a group. Form a group of 3 or more students. Discuss activities in your lives that bring out the best in you. Ask your group members questions about the activities they mention, and be respectful of your group members by not interrupting when they are speaking, and responding appropriately to their questions. Let's recap your revising rubric. Your finished autobiographical narrative should have first-person point of view, events told in chronological order, well-chosen details and elaborations, no spelling or grammatical errors, and nouns and pronouns used correctly. That completes our two-part writing workshop, from pre-writing and drafting in Part 1, to revising, editing, and presenting here in Part 2. Teachers, this makes a ready-to-use classroom sequence. Learners, you now have everything you need to tell your own story. If you enjoyed this video, watch Part 1. If you haven't yet, hit like, subscribe for more English language and literature lessons, and tell us in the comments what brings out the best in you. Happy writing, and see you in the next lesson.